Hey guys, hope y'all are doing well. So today I'm going to be taking out the rest of my tropical plants in all this area back behind me. All of my hardy hibiscus, some ginger and things that I have left. I'll show you what all I pulled out a few days ago. All of my elephant ears have been taken out in preparation of getting a new pool, and they have to come through this fence area and they're going to be digging all right here, so everything had to come out. I'm saving it all, but I just have to put it elsewhere in the garden or in pots until the pool's built and we can put it all back. And so I'm going to bring you along on that process and show you what I've done so far, and then I'm going to be doing a few yard chores, so let's go. All right, I'm going to put up a picture of what this area looked like before and now. So of course the freeze had done a lot of damage, but everything was pretty much coming back that we had here. So they're building a roof next door, so it's gonna be loud. The ginger that was all completely gone is coming back. I've already pulled out one. So this area was coming back pretty well, but now I've pulled out everything. I've been collecting nursery pots over the months, and I've been just pretty much yanking out what I can find and sticking it in a nursery pot, or even like this pot I had back here already and it only had a ginger in it, so I just went ahead and popped in a bunch of the elephant ears that I was yanking out. These palms will stay. I'll just have to, well, I guess I'll probably need to pull those out before the pool guys come. So this whole area was full of cannas and elephant ears, and I pulled out tons, and you can still see lots of little baby elephant ears coming up. So I'll come through and swoop out a few of those, but I'm not super worried about getting all of them because they reproduce like crazy. So this is a pot that we'll have to move. It's got a datura in it and some sweet potato vine that's getting eaten up by the snails and caterpillars. This is a really pretty, I'll put a picture up of what the flowers look like on this thing when they're open. Really pretty, but very stinky. This is a stinky plant. So then next I have all of these rose mallow hibiscus, and this is gonna be what I'm gonna focus on today. I'm gonna pull all of these out. I have, I think 12 or something of them. And I'm going to be putting them in my garden, my vegetable garden, because I have a back bed that's cleared out right now. I put some cardboard on it because I had a bunch of weeds. So a lot of those weeds should be dead now. So I'm gonna be transferring these into the garden. And then all back here, I've pulled out a lot. So lots of elephant ears still left there, but we'll get to all that today. Okay, and in this side yard, I had this giant upright alocasia, and so I pulled that out from this middle section here. And then, if you believe it, I pulled out a lot of elephant ears, but they just keep reproducing, so there's still a ton there. But what I did was stick as many as I could in this giant, this is one of those cloth foldable pots, and I got a bunch of these off of Amazon. Which is they're really nice because I needed a bunch of space real quickly to just put stuff, and this was the way to go. So I have the alocasia in here, which was one plant last year, and then after the freeze they started coming back, and now it's a good 4 solid plants. It's awesome. They're doing great. And then everything else I've put in little nursery pots, so, or whatever pots I could find around the house. Okay, so I have all my different varieties of elephant ears in these pots. This one's the white lava, doing well. Alocasia calidora. And then over here I have my Regal Shield alocasia. This is just some of it that I thought was completely dead after the freeze, but I found little babies in the ground, so they actually came back after that freeze. Then we have the diamond head, which I have in several different pots, and then also the illustrious. So all of them are just in pots all around my porch here, doing well. Everything seems to be enjoying its new home for now. Uh, so we will just keep it all here until the pool's done and then start refiguring how we're gonna plant everything back in the landscape. So I have plumeria here, cannas, so all that's gonna come out, and all of this is gonna come out today. Okay, so I got the bed all cleared out, all weeded, and I was just gonna do this half of the bed, but then once you kind of get started, inevitably you got to do the rest of it. So I had this cardboard all over. I left it here and just kind of picked the weeds around it, and then I trimmed up this blackberry that I had from this season. This blackberry produces a new fruiting cane each season for the next fruiting time, so the one that fruited this time is done. So this will be the one that fruits next season. But for now, I dug up one of the hibiscus and I dug a hole over here and realized this is going to be a lot of work. So I am going to put the hibiscus in pots because at least I won't have to dig 12 holes. I'll just have to dig it out of the ground and stick them in the pot. So we're going to do that. All right, so I have this really large cloth foldable pot that I'm hoping I can fit about 4 of these in here. We'll see. All right, so I put 3 in this pot. I could have fit 4, but I only have 3 of this fuchsia color, and I want to try to keep all the colors together. So I honestly don't know how long I'll end up having them in these pots because I feel like it's going to take me a long time to figure out where I want to put things once the pool is in. So what I did was I bought some colored tags, and I tagged all the hibiscus with which color they were. So I have white, which is this color, really pretty, and then I have pink. So I have 4 of the whites and I have 3 of the pinks, and I'll post a picture of what those look like because I don't have any of those blooming right now. Now I will say this is not the best time to be transplanting anything because of the heat, but this is just a must-do for us. We have to move them. So I am definitely going to be watering these in well, and I'm going to use, I think, 2 more of those pots because I have 4 pinks and 4 whites. So they should fit pretty perfectly in there. And of course that pot's not big enough to hold these long term. I pulled one of those out and the roots extended at least 8 inches, so I just kind of wrapped it around the pot there. So these definitely need a lot of space, but I've had all 12 of them in here now for 2 years, and they just keep getting bigger and bigger. So they go completely dormant in the winter. They die completely back, and I trim them about 3 to 4 inches above the ground, and they come back fresh each spring. Let's see if I can show you here. So this was the last year's growth, and so none of that comes back. So you just trim it, and then all the new growth comes back from the roots. It's really awesome. So these are a great choice. Rose mallow hibiscus. Some people just call them hardy hibiscus, but there's lots of varieties of hardy hibiscus. So these are specifically rose mallow. They can grow in swampy conditions. I have, check this out, nasty, wet, clay soil and full of weeds. and they have outdone themselves. I mean, they were gorgeous. I'll post some pictures right now and video of what these look like all throughout. They started blooming, I think, mid-May, and they're still blooming now in July. They do better if you come in and deadhead them, you know, and then they do produce seed pods. If you leave the flower on dead, then it will eventually turn into a seed pod. I do not know if these are protected by law that you can't reproduce them, so I'm not going to say to do that, but they do produce seeds. So, but you're more than welcome to just pop them off. Once they kind of die like that, you just pull them off real easy to keep them looking fresh. The flowers do only last about 24 to 36 hours, unfortunately. But man, they're gorgeous when they are open. I did want to mention, you might have noticed I'm using topsoil, and that is because it's cheap, and I just needed something to quickly fill these giant grow bags. I do not recommend that for regular potting soil. I don't know enough. My mom, she claims that's all she uses, and she knows people that's all they use because it's cheap and it works. But I will say, you can tell that it's kind of like, it feels like to me like shredded leaves and mulch mostly, which it probably is. I mean, this is to fill in like lawns and stuff. So it's not true soil, but it will do the job to keep these happy for a couple months in here. And they're going to start going dormant here pretty soon anyway. Black Gray found herself a nice shady spot. Hey, baby. I can't remember if my last video showed that we cut down this tree, but there was a tree here. It was huge, and we had it cut down and the stump grinded, so I'm left with all these tree shreds, which is pretty awesome. The kids have been playing here, and I'm gonna use some of this in the compost. But anyway, that tree had to be removed to get the pool, but we still have all this to be moved as well. I pulled up one of the gingers and put it in a pot over there, but the decking will end about right here, but I'm still concerned with some of this stuff getting trampled. So I think I'm just going to go ahead and pull it out. That way I can use it somewhere else anyway, in case you won't be able to see some of this stuff back here as well. So, but back here I do have calla lilies and elephant ears, ferns, the variegated ginger, philodendron, giant elephant ears. So some of this like purple queen I'm not going to worry about, but I'll take out the 2 gingers, some of those ferns. I think that's about it. All this stuff I've been collecting in pots, hydrangeas, some more of the diamond head, the ginger, and I found a couple Mayan mask elephant ears in the tropical garden area. I think I had them planted in there at one point, maybe. I honestly don't remember, but they popped up after the freeze, so I have more of those. We have elephant ears growing on behind our fence, I guess just from, who knows, you know, elephant ears, they just travel. And then I did have this monstera on the tree that we cut down, so I had to cut some of the roots, unfortunately. It is based in the pot, but monstera sends out aerial roots, and so I did have it trained on the other tree, so I had to move it to this tree, which is fine because it's in its growing season right now, and so it's been putting out tons of new aerial roots, and this grows so fast. Yesterday I looked and it wasn't even quite close to the ground, and now it's about to touch the ground. So as soon as it does, it'll bury itself in there. And see, just like this one that came down, it has buried itself already, and the ones that are close to the tree, Let me show you if I can find one that's already attached. Yes. So if you can see, this one has already attached itself onto the tree, which is what they do. In the rainforest, they climb up the trees in order to get sun. So that's kind of just their nature, and I was really hoping that I could get one to climb a tree. And so that's the plan here. It's huge and gorgeous, and I just love it. So over here, I don't think I'm gonna have to remove any of this because the decking will stop about right here in front of that tree. So I don't think I need to touch any of this stuff. I think I'm gonna end up putting some like netting up or something to say, please be careful, please don't touch my plants. Because I just planted these other like blue Hawaiian elephant ears and have a hosta in there, and these lamb's ear plants are just taking off still, reproducing like crazy. And then my Vitex, it half died because previous owners had put a stake and wrapped it around right there, and so over time it cut off nutrient and probably water supply to the top of the tree. And so the top just died one day, just out of the blue died. This was about a month and a half ago. So my husband removed the stake and everything, and I do think it's trying to revive itself. This one branch has come up and it's trying. So if it doesn't, we'll just cut the top off because the bottom's still gorgeous and thriving. And then we have Confederate rose and some more elephant ears. This one, I forget the names of these because I just bought them. I don't know if this one's the Hawaiian one or Hawaiian punch. I can't remember. I'll have to go back and look. So the decking will probably end somewhere right here. So I get to just kind of redo all these beds, and we'll have some plant cutouts. I'll pop a picture up of what the pool's gonna look like in this spot, and there'll be lots of new planting adventures to come. So I hope this inspires you to go outside in your yard, figure out some areas that can be planted up, look at your sun and shade, pick some good stuff, and have fun.